Today we're going to be doing some technical analysis for the SPY and the Qs, okay? We're going to leave the rest for Sunday because your boy's moving here and we have a lot to do around the house. But there's some important things that we can touch about or talk about on the SPY and Qs before we even go look at those, stocks like Apple, Tesla, Amazon, and Nvidia on Sunday. So do come back on Sunday, but let's look at the SPY. On the SPY right down here, we were talking about how we were waiting for that pause, right? Once we see this downturn, we started to say, hey, it really looks like the Fed is going to pause, and you can see that big reaction once we do get that info. So that is something good, and give yourself a little pat on the back if you were able to make some money at that point. That's a very good trade. Congratulations. Now, I didn't necessarily expect a huge move like this, and these moves need to be digested, okay? You're going up by somewhere around, let's see, we're going up by as far as we went up 6.6% in just like a week, okay? So that's a lot of price action. It's a very strong move, but strong moves do need to have some small pullbacks to find some buyers. It doesn't mean we have to crash down immediately or anything, but I just wanted to point out that we were targeting this area up in here, and I thought, hey, it might be good for the market to actually want to pull back down, then go touch that area. Then we get another pullback to find some more buyers. But we ended up going straight up to that area, and where do we get rejection? Right off of that monthly expected move, which is this yellow line that has been priced in for the options as far as November, okay? So November, we're reaching the top of that, and this can signal some funky price action, because when you hit the top of a range at the beginning of a month, it is very interesting, because you want to see what's going to happen the rest of the month. Are we going to come back down, or are we just going to sit up here and see some wonky price action? So we really have to pay attention to this. But overall, it just means that the market or the market makers want this to close in this monthly range. And right now, you're testing the top of it 3 days into the month of November. Another thing I wanted to point out, since we are talking about these weekly ranges, that would be these purple lines here, is you notice that we did get outside of that purple range. And this is about these two bars here, are where I was saying I'd really like to see some kind of pullback before we move higher, so that it can be, a little bit healthier move. This looks more like a short squeeze at this point. And the problem with these short squeezes is, if we do want to go fill some gaps, there's a bunch below us, right? We can fill one here, we can fill one here, and I don't know if this is exactly closed, but we could probably go fill that one way down there. So we could see price, as far as next week go, won't come all the way back down before we want to start to go higher. I am thinking that that is a definite possibility over the next 1 or 2 weeks, because that would set up our nice head and shoulders. So if you did miss out on this move, do not get FOMO up here, okay? You are at the top of that monthly range, and actually that means that the probabilities are starting to add up that we are going to see some sort of pullback. Let's talk about these weekly ranges and how we react when we get outside of them. So when you do get outside of them, 68% of the time you want to close back within them, but you can see that other, 20-ish or 30-ish% of the time, 32% of the time, this is the type of stuff that can happen. We can see these ballistic moves, and you're probably wondering why that would happen. It's because the market maker has created all of the options to be priced in to end down in between these purple lines here. So if I zoom out a little bit, down in between these purple lines. So when that does actually play out to the upside, they have to reposition, and they're actually going to have to buy into this move, okay? So it's going to make it go up even faster. But once they hit a point where some sellers could be, we can start to see a pullback. So I do believe maybe we do get some wonky price action up in here, but overall, I do believe we are going to see some kind of pullback to carve out some sort of right shoulder. If that does not happen, then I would say that this move is just some kind of short squeeze, like a continuing short squeeze, and we're probably going to see a bigger dip in the future. So I really would like the SPY to come and carve out a right shoulder so that this move can actually digest and become healthy again. As we switch over to the Qs, you can see the same thing, right? We're way outside of that monthly move at this point. I mean, I think this monthly move is actually somewhere up in here. So I'm going to remake these eventually over the weekend. So tune in on Sunday, because I'll have the new weekly ranges for the SPY and the Qs, and I will have the monthly range fully updated at that point, and it should be good for the whole month after that. You notice that we are coming into the top of this, I guess we would call it a flag at this point, and maybe this means that we are going to see some sellers step in with this liquidity up here, and we're going to see some sort of drop to carve out that right shoulder, okay? So you do have the same thing on the Qs. The main thing, since, it's pretty similar to the SPY, that I wanted to point out is the fact that we are very far away from that 9-day moving average, okay? You're pretty far away from it, and maybe we want to go reconnect with it before we start to head higher. And as of right now, I'm not expecting a big down day like that, but we could head down to these levels, you see that that pullback actually wouldn't be too ridiculous, and we would actually be filling a couple of gaps. So that's just one I wanted to point out on the Qs. On Sunday, we will, once this plays out, we will give a little bit wider range because a new month has started. So we will talk about a more grand scheme of things, what could happen throughout the next few months, let alone next week. So tune in for Sunday because we're going to talk about the week ahead, but also what could be happening over the next few months. On the VIX here, I said I wanted maybe to create some kind of left head and right shoulder. I think that that would have been a very good idea for the market, but it's not going to react how I think it should, right? It's going to react however the heck it wants, and then I have to, put my trading strategy around that, right? So right now we are seeing that once we do close, like we said, below that 50 and that 200 pretty safely, then we actually do get another big move upward. That's why you're seeing this bar down. The only thing about this as of right now is if we do keep heading up, and that's what I'm talking about, if we keep squeezing to the upside, this could just be some kind of retest and then something breaks in the system. So I really would like actually the VIX to, since it's at the bottom of its Bollinger Band, maybe come up here and test that 200 one more time for a couple of days and then start to head to lower levels, or even come up and maybe we do get actually like some kind of wonky head and shoulders. So that's what I'm paying attention to the VIX, and we'll get more into this on Sunday. Okay, so join me on Sunday and we'll get into everything and we'll get into the individual stocks. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. You guys are liking, subscribing. I really enjoy this, and it's a lot of fun. I'm having a little less time, so I have to kind of sneak away to do these videos at this point. So if you have seen some helpful things with these videos, then please click that donation link down in the description. And I am continuing to create my course, so if there's any questions around indicators and around those weekly ranges that you might have, I will, look at those questions and maybe answer them in my course, and I'll probably message you back in the comments. I'm pretty good about that. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Okay, look out for my Sunday video, but for now, just have a fun weekend. All right, have fun. Peace.